Feel the power of your determination taking control of your breathing. Feel the power of your presence, your gift, right now in this moment. Now think about you doing your best today on all the exercises we do together in the gym of life. See, we are so powerful, we get to think, create, imagine in our minds, and make real in the world. That goes with everything. The way we do our exercises to the best of our ability is the same way we can do anything to the best of our ability.
La vida me empezó a cambiar la noche que te conocí. Tenía poco que perder y la cosa sigue así. Yo con mi sostén a rayas y mi pelo a medio hacer. Pensaste todavía es un niño, pero ¿qué le voy a hacer? Es lo que andaba buscando, el doctor recomendando. Creí que estaba soñando, oh, oh, de que me andaba quejando. No sé qué estaba pensando. Voy pa'l cielo y voy pateando. Oh, oh, me enamoré, me enamoré. Lo vi solito y me lancé. Me enamoré, me enamoré. Mira qué cosa bonita, qué boca más redondita. Me gusta esa barbita. Y bailé hasta que me cansé, hasta que me cansé. Bailé y me enamoré. Nos enamoramos, un mojito, dos mojitos. Mira qué ojitos bonitos. Me quedo otro ratito. Contigo yo tendría 10 hijos. Empecemos por un par. Solamente te lo digo por si quieres practicar. Lo único que estoy diciendo, vayámonos conociendo. Es lo que está proponiendo. Oh, oh, nos vamos entusiasmando. Todo nos va resultando. Qué bien lo estamos pasando. Oh, oh, me enamoré, me enamoré. Lo vi solito y me lancé. Me enamoré, me enamoramos. Mira qué cosa bonita, qué boca más redondita. Me gusta esa barbita. Y bailé hasta que me cansé, hasta que me cansé. Bailé, me enamoré. Nos enamoramos, un mojito, dos mojitos. Mira qué ojitos bonitos. Me quedo otro ratito. Nunca creí que fuera así. ¿Cómo te fijarías en mí? Toda la noche lo pensé. Este pa' mí o pa' más nadie. 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 Me enamoré, me enamoré. Lo vi solito y me lancé. Me enamoré, me enamoramos. Mira qué cosa bonita, qué boca más redondita. Me gusta esa barbita. Y bailé hasta que me cansé, hasta que me cansé. Bailé, me enamoré. Nos enamoramos, un mojito, dos mojitos. Mira qué ojitos bonitos. Me quedo otro ratito. Nunca creí que fuera así. ¿Cómo te fijarías en mí? Toda la noche lo
Alvarez se ne va di potenza, Duvan Zapata lo insegue Fofana, Duvan Zapata si avvicina all'area di rigore, ci prova col sinistro e pallone in rete! La meraviglia di Duvan Zapata, forse voluta, forse no, ma il 2-0 salva!
Morning, guys. Today, for our top 10 rules for success, Warren Buffett shares with us his fifth rule for success, and that is this: have a margin of safety. So, I want to take this and apply it to our daily living. I truly believe that through the power of our minds, through our ability to control our minds, we are already in business. We are in daily business of living, and we do our business through the decisions we make. So, today, and each and every moment, I want you to think of this margin of safety. So what that means is, as you start to discover the power of your mind and start to really use it, you are going to want to do more and expand. Leave yourself a margin of safety, meaning there are going to be things that you want to do, great, but really use your thought processes and the power of your mind to stop and think, what will happen if I do this? And if I do this and it doesn't work out the way I want, am I going to be okay still? That will propel us to success. Have a great day, everybody.
So today's message is going to be about advanced mindset and resiliency. I traveled for 7 years. That was my career in my 20s. I was a travel blogger. And I remember when I was in Montenegro. Montenegro's in Europe. It's in the Balkans. It's a beautiful country, probably top 5 for me. And I was walking and I was just exploring. And I remember I was getting those peculiar stares. I was used to the stares. You know, I'm a solo Black woman. I get it. I'm in a country that doesn't have many Black people. There were those stares, but this stare was different. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep on going with it. Little did I know that, well, Europe, number one, is a very big tennis continent. You have Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, all came from Europe, and they're massive global tennis stars. And little did I know, I resembled Serena Williams. And so the stares weren't about like, oh, it's just another Black woman. It was like, oh, we have this American tennis star in our country. All of these people thought I was Serena Williams, and they were trying to get my autograph. And I didn't know this about celebrities, but when they travel, a lot of times they don't want to be bothered, so they use an alias name. And I was like, no, I'm Glow. I'm not Serena. No, Glow, please, Serena Williams. And they were begging me and telling me that, no, we know that you're Serena. Please just, take a picture with us. And it was so funny. But I was like, I was literally trying to outrun the paparazzi. And I got back to my hostel, and I go out to dinner later on. And there's this one Russian man who was still able to track my whereabouts. And, as I say this out loud, it sounds a little bit creepy, but it was genuine. He had kids that loved Serena Williams. And so he said, Sevina, please, for my kids. Sevina, please, for my kids. And so what did I do? Got my pen, signed Serena with a smiley face, and let him on his way. That is resilience. Not the kind that we're going to talk about, but it's resilience nonetheless. And I want to talk to you guys about how when there's something that you want, no matter the circumstances, you will find a way to get it. That's entrepreneurship. That's life. But advanced mindset, I want to break down an acronym here, because advanced mindset, it comes down to your mind. So I want you guys to write out MIND, and we're going to break down a mind framework that's going to help you have a more advanced mindset. The first one, M, mission, a mission that can change the world. A lot of us are still operating from a very selfish place. And I speak from experience. When I was travel blogging, all I wanted to do was travel the world and get paid. So some of you guys have to understand, like, what is it about your skill set, your career, or your industry that you can attach to a greater cause? Maybe because of personal experience or overcome trauma. Think about it. If you're a nutritionist that overcame a disease, how can you now teach on holistic wellness? Okay. If you're a business coach, maybe, who overcame poverty, How can you now attach socioeconomic issues as a part of your branding, as a part of your messaging? Take your own personal story and attach it to a larger mission, because that's what's going to make you stand out as a leader, make you stand out as an entrepreneur, and just make you stand out in your industry in general. Intuition to speak up when it matters. Leadership is easy when things are going well. It's easy to be a leader when you don't have to actually lead on hard stuff, okay? And I was like, ooh. And I found myself like really having to feel convicted about what leadership means, and that intuition to speak up when it matters most. Because sometimes controversy is necessary in a teaching moment. Figuring out how to take something that could be controversial and turning it into a teaching moment. Every single thing that I post, you'll never find, my page is not about drama. My teaching style, my education style, nothing is about drama or gossip or hatred. That's not where I come from. It's lessons, it's learning, it's teaching, because that's intuition as a leader. Like, okay, this needs to be spoken about. How can I speak about it in a way that no one else has covered? With grace, compassion, with light, okay? Intuition is having the ability to recognize a moment that can set your core values apart from everyone else. It is easy to do what everyone else is doing. It is easy to speak like everyone else is speaking. The hard thing is to pause and to reflect. And when you're about to speak out on something, how can you do that inner work of saying, okay, can I see myself in this situation? Have I done something like this before? Okay. The next one, N, nuanced navigation. And it's funny because I was like, what is nuance? We use it a lot of times, but we use words sometimes and we're like, wait, what's the actual textbook definition of nuance? Nuance is a subtle difference, a subtle change of expression, okay? And a lot of times you're gonna navigate through life not always needing to go with the flow of the world. And whether your business mission is to change the face of education, maybe your business mission is to change the face of marketing, again, because your advanced mindset is going to be more forward thinking. There's going to be a larger cause that you've got to attach your branding to. But you have to have nuance in your teaching, in your decision making, in your integrity, in your values. You have to be able to recognize what's for you and what's not. Okay, don't chase things. Attract them by the way you show up. Don't chase after things. Attract them by the way you're showing up in the world, okay? I think a lot of times, especially as a beginning entrepreneur in my 20s, I was still so hungry to fit in, hungry for purpose, hungry for finances because I was broke, trying to figure out like, where do I go? And your navigation, your GPS system has to have nuance. If you are going the direction of everyone else, you might not be doing it right. You might not be doing it right, because leadership is going to take you to pause. It's going to force you to slow down. It's going to force you to detour sometimes. It's going to force you to put something in reverse, put the whole vehicle in reverse and say, okay, I went down this path because I saw everyone else doing it, but maybe this isn't actually where I'm supposed to be going. Okay, nuanced navigation. There should always be a subtle difference in the way you're speaking up, in the way you're showing up, in the way you're leading, in the way you're educating, in the way you're providing, in the way you're serving. There should always be nuance, okay? And then D, diligent. You want to be careful, conscious, and committed to your work. It is so easy to let the glitz and glam of success and life just overwhelm you and make you feel like everything you've done was on your own goodwill, okay? You have to be careful, conscious, and committed, not just to your work, but to the mission, and staying connected to the community that you're trying to help. And you do this by dedicating yourself to a cause that is greater than yourself. And I remember I was, I think 27, I was in Jamaica the first time my blog hit 6 figures. And that was, up until that point, that was my only goal. I wanted to get paid to travel. I wanted to have a 6-figure blog. Once I get there, I'm rich, woo! I think my first year as a full-time travel blogger, I made $7,000 the entire year. So the idea of a 6-figure blog was so out of reach that I was like, if I can get there, maybe one day if I get lucky, I was like, oh, I'll just kind of stop, like, because that's all I need. And what happened when I reached 100K? Spiraled, went into a 3-week episode of depression. Because when you put so much value on money and not your core values, not your integrity, not a mission, you lose yourself. I was so, that moment of a 6-figure blog, I put so much weight in that. I didn't know what I needed to feel, but when I got there, I didn't feel anything. I was expecting, like, maybe my shower was gonna feel different. Maybe glitter would like pop under my balloons or pop under my pillows. Balloons would come from the sky. Like, where is my party? Like, I've had this goal. Where's the celebration? Didn't feel anything. In fact, I regressed. I stopped reading. I stopped praying. I stopped reading my devotional. I lost sight of myself. And so it's so important. Have financial goals, but my goodness, have a mission first. Have a mission first.
little bit though after a great start to the second half, and now for the instant reply! Get out of here! Andrew reboots! A sensational strike! And the Jets are level in seconds!
Good morning, guys. Today, Warren Buffett shares with us an amazing piece of advice. It's helped me so much. I hope it helps you. And that is his rule number 7, which is schedule for your personality. That it requires you to know what your personality is. And we all should know that, but some of us may not tend to fully acknowledge it and actually work with it. So for me, for example, I know that I love to read, I love physical activity, I love moving around, I love helping others, but I also love working on my mind and making sure that I'm set up for as much success with other people as possible by kind of fitting in with my personality, and it feels great. So I schedule my day as much as possible around my personality. So think about your personality. If you're the kind of person that is more outgoing, more seeking social interaction, and you feel that helps you, then you go with that. If you're more shy, introverted like me, you work with activities that will help you there. Have a great day, everybody.
I think that in order for us to truly change, we have to get beyond ourselves, and that is one of the arts of transformation. And with the moment we are completely in the present moment, we cannot be running a program. It turns out, coincidentally, when we're truly in the present moment, all possibilities in the quantum field exist in the eternal now. So when we're truly present and we take our attention off our body, that's the moment we become pure consciousness. And where we place our attention is where we place our energy. So then the moment we become nobody, that's the moment we get beyond ourselves. It is that act of being in the present moment that allows us to see new possibilities that we could never see from the place where we are stuck in our own programs and personality. The act of doing that is a skill, and it requires feedback. Feedback happens in a couple ways. One way you get feedback is to begin to measure the changes you see in your life. This process, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And yet we are piercing a veil where people are waking up and they're beginning to take their power back. We already innately know how to do this. All we have to do is keep practicing until we start seeing those wonderful, wonderful feedback mechanisms happening in our life. The moment you start seeing those changes taking place in your life, you are going to pay attention to what you did to cause it. And the moment you pay attention to the cause of that action, you're no longer thinking that it's something out there that did it. You're beginning to realize it's what you did inside of you to produce it. That's when we begin to take our power back.
The key to enjoying your life is being present. The key to focusing is being present. The key to feeling like you're valuable and what you do matters is being present. Being present is at the core to a lot of great things, but a lot of people really struggle to stay present because what are you doing? Most people spend most of their time either thinking about the past or thinking about the future, and not even in a positive way. You spend time thinking about the past, living in regret of all the things that you could have done, you could have said, you should have done, you should have said. I wish I did that. I wish that video I made didn't suck. I wish. Why didn't I? And we beat ourselves up. Does that sound familiar? Is that you? Maybe even a little bit. Or we spend our time being anxious about the future. I think as entrepreneurs, we get excited about the future, where we could go and what we could build. And that's the fun daydreaming part. But a lot of thinking about the future is stress inducing. It's anxiety. It's worrying about what could go wrong. All the millions of things that could go wrong that maybe never go wrong, but we're still worried about them, right? Again, does that sound somewhat familiar? When you are stuck living in the past or living in the future, you're never obviously present, but you're not happy, you're not productive, you're not focused, you're not creating, you're not serving, none of it, and you're not fulfilled. I look at people who want to get started on YouTube, for example, or entrepreneurs who are trying to launch their business, and people made maybe one video or two videos, and because it didn't work out, or you made a video and you felt embarrassed by yourself, or you launched a product and somebody had one bad piece of feedback, you're reliving that same negativity over and over and over and over and over again. People ask me, well, what happens when you have a bad video? What happens when your video bombs? I was speaking at Brendan Burchard's Influencer Summit yesterday, and somebody asked me, well, what do you do when a video doesn't take off or do well? Like, well, lots of my videos don't take off and do well. I don't know which ones are going to blow up. The ones that have blown up surprise me. Like, that's the one that blew up. I love this one so much more. How do I keep going? Because I'm looking to the next one. Like, I'm worried. I'm working on videos now. I don't know what I released yesterday or the day before or the day before, because I'm making new content. Think about how you got over a relationship. Well, when you get into a new relationship, it's easy to forget about your last relationship. It's thinking about what you're doing now. And if you have nothing right now, what do you do? If there's nothing to do right now, you spend your time in regret about the past or worried about the future. It's not enough action happening right now. I don't care about videos that failed in the past, because I'm going to be making tons more. Another one comes out today, and another one tomorrow, another one tomorrow, and it's a moment to reflect and say, hey, okay, I could have done better on that one, or why didn't this one do well? Okay, this moment here, that sucked, perfect. I'm making one today, I'll make it better. At least that's the intent. Maybe I don't achieve it, but that's the intent, and if you show up with that intent every day, you will eventually make it better. Most people get too caught up on the mistakes that they made in the past. It's in the past. You did the best you could with what you've got. Remind yourself of that. You did the best you could with what you had. Great. Don't be so hard on yourself. Keep making. Because the worst thing you can do is quit now. The worst thing you can do is stop now, because when you look back on your life when you're 120, that you'll regret that you stopped. You regret that you had a chance, you had a moment. You could have done something and you didn't. Like, that's the biggest regret of all. Not taking any kind of action, not the mistakes that you made. We don't regret really the things that we did. Most of the things that people regret are the things they did not do. Most people's biggest regrets are not taking enough action. Letting that little man voice inside their head tell them all the reasons why they weren't going to win. Convincing themselves that they weren't capable. And as a result, they stopped when they wished they had the courage, the strength, the tenacity to keep going. Right? That could be you. You could get going. You keep going. You could stay present. You could make the next thing. And at the same time, a lot of people are then also worried about the future. Well, what if I make this and it doesn't work out? I was talking to people again yesterday about their YouTube channels, and the same person asked me, well, what if it doesn't work out? Like, what if I make videos and nobody sees them? So what if nobody sees my videos? And then the next question was, well, what if people see my videos and they don't like me? So this person at the same time is afraid of people not seeing their videos and people seeing their videos. How does that make any sense? Right? This is the loop that we get stuck in. You're afraid of people not seeing you, and you're afraid of people seeing you. You can't win. The mental dialogue we have with ourselves, we can't win. It's not possible. We need to start to flip that. We need to rewire ourselves. And that starts again with being present. Like, you can't control what the outcome's going to be in the future, but you can control what you're doing right now. If you can switch so that you are mostly present, not really thinking about the past unless it's gratitude, right? If you can flip the regret of the past to gratitude, right? And if you can switch the anxiety for the future to excitement or vision, that's when you really start to win. Somebody came to an event that I did in Toronto and asked me, these guys drove up from Boston to do a podcast with me and then stuck around for my event. And they asked me, how much of your time do you spend percentage-wise living in the past, present, future? And I said 0% past, 85% present, 15% future. And the 15% is vision, what I want to create. You know, as entrepreneurs, we have to be a little bit forward thinking, but it's 85% present. I don't even know what day it is. Like, it's present, not even present to today, but present to this moment. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what I'm doing after this. All I know is I'm here right now with you guys. And that allows for focus, that allows for happiness, that allows for purpose, that allows for life to give you so many gifts when you're not stuck living in the past or the future. So how do you do it? How do you get there? I think the best thing you can do is every time you catch yourself drifting, daydreaming, forward or back in a negative way, you catch it. Every time you can catch it, you won't catch it most of the time. So don't put this impossibly high burden on yourself that every time I'm thinking about the past and I'm living in regret, I'm going to catch it and do something about it. You won't catch it. You won't catch it. This is decades of unwiring our brain, right? It's fine. Don't have, when you're starting something new, don't have crazy expectations that you have to get it perfect or you're a failure. Right? This is the problem, not just with this one exercise, but with everything. Don't expect to be great out of the gate. You won't. You're just starting. You're at the beginning. Why do you think you're going to be fantastic? And because the first time it doesn't work out perfectly, then we quit. That is not how it works. Right? You need to expect to suck at the beginning. That's okay. That's how you learn something. Every time you can catch yourself drifting, you're living in the past in regret or future being stressed out, just try to bring it back to right now. Just bring it back to the present and focus on anything. Focus on a physical object. I could focus on my coffee. Like how can you get present right now? You can focus on the coffee. Wow, look at this coffee cup. You know, it's tall, it's red. I'm grateful for the beverage inside here. I like that they have the sleeve. Ooh, it's got a maple leaf on it, right? Like, this is all, I'm being present right now with the cup of coffee. It is warm. I can feel the sensation on my hands. I can taste it in my mouth, right? Where most of the time, even when you're eating something, you're usually focused on something else, right? You're eating while you're on your phone. You're eating while you're watching a video. You're eating while you're doing something else and not ever actually enjoying the food because we're thinking about what's next. So every time you can catch it, you just try to bring it back to the moment, to right now. And then what's going to happen is the more you do that, the more you'll catch it. So right now, maybe you catch it 1% of the time, but the more you do that and practice that and just pick one thing to focus on that's in your environment, or focus on your breath, right? It's why meditation works so well with a mantra or breath work, because it gives you something to focus on. When you're first starting out with being present and focus, it's helpful to have somewhere to put your attention, because focus on nothing doesn't feel like very practical advice to the beginner trying to figure this out. So you focus on your breath, and anytime your mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Every time you get stressed or anxious or worried or what you're going to do next, bring it back to the breath. Every time you get bored, bring it back to the breath, right? The breath could be anything. The breath could be the cup of coffee. Look at the cup of coffee. Feel the cup of coffee. Every time you get distracted, you're worrying about work or your life, back to the cup of coffee, back to your mantra, right? All of that can work. It's just picking something to ground you back in being in the present. And again, the more you catch it and the more you do it, the more you'll catch the next one. And the more you do it again the next time. It's a skill that you learn. You're retraining your brain how to work. And what you'll find is the more you can do that and the more you practice it, bit by bit, day by day, you'll find yourself having less stress, being more productive, staying more focused, caring less about what other people think about you, and overall being happier. And what that does is free you up to actually go and do the work that's inside you, the genius that you've got to put out to the world and serve. Being present is the key to unlocking your happy life. Less time living in regret about the past, less time living in the stress of the future and anxiety for what may come, and more time focused on what can you do right now, today, in this moment, to be proud of yourself and live your best life. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
I'm done hating myself for feeling. I'm done crying myself away. I gotta leave and start the healing. But when you move like that, I just wanna stay. What have I become? I'm looking through your phone now, oh now. Love to you is just a game. Look what I have done. I'm dialing up the numbers, oh yeah. I don't want my heart to break. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that shame and all that danger. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Oh no, how did I manage to lose me? I am not this desperate, not this crazy. There's no way I'm sticking around to find out. I won't lose like that, I won't lose myself. Look what I have done, dialing up the numbers, oh yeah. I don't want my heart to break. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that shame and all that danger. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Yeah. Yeah. Love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you? Oh, yeah. Love will keep you up tonight. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that shame and all that danger. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Baby, how do you sleep when you lie to me? All that fear and all that pressure. I'm hoping that my love will keep you up tonight. Tell me, how do you?
Jefferson, Maranhão bateu, golaço!
Good morning, guys. Yesterday we looked at the power of our minds. For us to get from the power of our mind to the wealth of our mind, we got to cross a bridge, and that bridge is the health of our mind. And for me, one of the most amazing things I've realized through some struggles, through some challenges, through some stresses and anxieties in life, is that without the health of our mind, we'll never have a chance to even get to the wealth of our mind, which is the true freedom, happiness, and peace that we all are designed to have. So one of the things that has helped me, and I sincerely hope it helps you, and this is the essence of my mission in life, is that in order for us to have health of our minds and overcome anything that we're challenged with, we have to feed it with as much positive thought energy as possible. That goes with everything we think, say, and do. Have a great day, everybody.
This whole thing about abundance and attracting to yourself what it is that you want and how to use mantras and spirituality to make sure you have what you want. True spirituality is about not wanting. It's about being filled with joy from inside and then sharing that outside. It's not about attracting to yourself what you want. People ask me, is there a law of attraction? Yes. And you better be scared of it, because if it's true that you attract what your mind is thinking, you better take a look at what your mind is thinking. What about your mind all day when it's complaining and it's yelling at people and it doesn't like stuff? What if you're attracting that way? So you eventually catch on that it is not about getting what you want. It is about learning to find out that what you really want is to stay open and not have conditions on that openness. And then it comes down to, how do you do that? Are people capable of doing that? Or is that just reserved for, some special beings, Buddha and Christ, that have walked the face of the earth? Everybody is capable of that. If I tell you to pick up 5,000 pounds, you may not be able to do that. So I've told you to do something that you have never done and you're not doing it, so you may not be able to do it. But if you're actually already doing something and I tell you not to do it, you're always capable of that because you're the one who's doing it.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to believe in myself. I quit on my business partner. And the thing that saved me was watching the successful stories of entrepreneurs. They gave me the inspiration to keep going, as well as the strategies of what to do. And quite honestly, I still need their stories and motivation today as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Michael Singer, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy.
Inside, you are the one who's closing your heart. You close it. You are the one who's closing your mind. You do that. They're your thoughts. It's your feelings. They're nobody else's. So you are in there doing these things. So if I tell you the way to stay open is to not close, I don't teach how to stay open. That's more like finding out how to get what you want. I'm interested in you learning to not close. But a difference. If I say to you, I want you to open your heart right now, you wouldn't even know how to start. But if I say to you, somebody says something you don't like, don't close, you know where to start, right? Because it's happening inside of you and you see the tendency to do it. All I'm asking you to do is don't do that. And I'm telling you that will take you the whole way. Don't worry about opening. Worry about not closing. There are going to be events that unfold in your life that naturally open you. A beautiful sunset, a bird singing. Sometimes you get what your mind wants, all right? You open. Great. Nothing wrong with that. Don't close. How come it only lasts a minute? How can you see a beautiful sunset? You feel like, oh my God, I looked into the face of God. Then you go right back into your mind with all your problems. Why? Why don't you learn to not close? Once you get some openness, start to work with yourself to not close. And this is how to get what you really want. The deep spiritual teachings are really teaching you how to get what you want. Because what you want is to feel love and joy and happiness all the time. And so if you can get that from within, you then can share it.
Rule number 2 is discover your real self.
The mind is very strong. And one of the things the mind does is develop methodologies or ways of thinking that let it interact with life and not get hurt and be more comfortable. And it's the ego. When we develop a self-concept and we change it throughout our lives, but in general, there's a self-concept sitting under there saying, I was the one that did this, and I was the one that went to this school, and I'm the one that went there, and the one that my father left or stayed, or whatever the hell it is, And basically, all of this unfolds, and you end up developing patterns of thinking based upon the experiences you've had, all right? And what I'm saying, at least certainly in my experience, is that's not what makes you wake up. That's what keeps you from waking up. All right? And the fact that you're identifying with these past experiences and saying, that's who I am. Well, it's not who you are. You are watching your ego. You see it get upset. You see it fix things. You see it have concepts and views and et cetera, et cetera. And even you're obviously very intelligent. You can use your intellect to support the ego, to support that, and so on, right? And yes, you're a very special person, you're a very intelligent person, and therefore that becomes part of your self-concept, okay? And then you say you're a religious person, part of your self-concept. All of these things are ways you think of yourself. And there's nothing at all wrong with that. It's wonderful. You've been successful. You're happy. You're doing well. All right?
I'm not happy.
Okay,
I'm not doing
okay.
well.
I just said that because I'm supposed to.
I'm also like weeping openly at this moment.
Okay. But listen to me, right? That identification with your personal self, which is just your mind's thoughts, are what keep you from waking up.
Rule number 3 is recognize your needs.
Instead of asking, why am I not okay? Why am I not okay? You're asking, what do I need to be okay? That's the major difference of whether you're growing inwardly or you're attached to struggling externally. Is you think I can only be okay if I get the things that I got before or similar, you extrapolate, right? Things that made me, I had a relationship in 8th grade and it was so beautiful and she was redheaded. Okay, my wife, no, it's not true. All right. She was redheaded and she left. You know, her parents moved, right? And it was never a bad experience in that relationship. It was just the most perfect relationship you've ever had, right? You understand now, if I'm grown up and I go on a date and she's redheaded, I have a propensity toward being open. You just asked the question, why do we think we need these things? All right? Because we're not okay inside. And we've had experiences, either you read a book, it'll tell you need that to be okay. You watch a movie, meet somebody, you can have a thought. If I had a Tesla, okay, it used to be a Ferrari, now it's a Tesla. All right, man, everyone would be proud of me and I feel like I'm helping the ecology. And so all of a sudden I'm not okay unless I get a Tesla. And if I get a Tesla, oh my God, for a while, how am I doing? Wonderful. So that's how you develop your preferences, is through programming. You get programmed by your past experiences.
Rule number 4 is find out what you really want.
What do you really want? We talk about wisdom. People talk about attracting to themselves, the laws of attraction and all those sorts of things. But the question really is, from a spiritual point of view, what do you really want? And religion's about what you're supposed to want. And we know how that works. Spirituality is not about that. Spirituality is about looking deeply within and seeking truth, clarity. That's what it's about. So this discussion has nothing to do with my feeling what you should want or you even feeling guilty or weird about what you do want. The question is, what do you really want? And the way to do that, and I'm going to be very bad in doing this, is to say, here's a piece of paper, not really, but figuratively, and I want you to write down what you want. Just take a little time, don't do it. Take a little time and write down what you want. And if you're like most human beings, probably first on the list is a good relationship, something that makes me feel important, needed, wanted, loved, secure, all that kind of stuff. And so whether you're in a relationship, I'd like it to get better, so-and-so should behave in different ways, should understand me better, etc. Or if you're not in a relationship, how to find my, quote, soulmate, somebody who just fits perfectly with me and just fulfills the meaning of my life. And if we're really honest, we write down a nice house and a Ferrari, or at least some sort of a car, and perhaps children, and or perhaps a little time without the children, and we make our list. Nobody's judging, just be honest. You put that down. The purpose of this discussion is, no matter what you put on that list, unless you're very highly evolved, my experience is it's not really what you want. It's not that it's wrong. It's just not really what you want. And the way I prove that is as follows. Let's say you put down, I want a relationship. I want to meet somebody. I want to have that special relationship. And then I would ask you, what if you walked outside after this conversation and all of a sudden there was this bush in front of you and it started burning like it did to Moses and talking to you. And its opening sentence was, I am the Lord your God, and I would like to discuss some things with you. and said enough things that it knew about you to where you were pretty freaked out that you're actually talking to an omniscient, omnipotent being, or at least Bush. And the question that gets asked of you is, what would you like? What do you want? I can grant whatever you want. And having gone through this exercise with me, you feel, God, thank God, Mickey, I'm prepared. This is neat. I thought about it. And you say, I want a relationship. I want to meet somebody. I want to have that thing I've looked for my whole life. Or I want a house. Or I want the perfect job. I want a job that makes me, that fulfills what I'm looking for. And what God tells you at that point is, I can give you that. I have the power to give you that. But there's a caveat, which you probably want to hear before I give it to you, which is, I can give you that perfect person. They will be loyal to you. They will stay with you your entire life. But the caveat is that you will be completely unfulfilled. You will feel sad every time you come into their presence. You will not feel any love. You will not feel any joy, happiness, meaning. But they'll be there, and they will dote all over you, and they will just be the most perfect partner that they could possibly be. Or give you the job that you thought would be the most amazing thing, but it's hollow for you. You go there and you thought it would turn you on, but it doesn't. And you just loathe going to work, and you're just not excited about it. So therein lies the, what do you really want? Because what you're going to find is, if you were given the opportunity to have a relationship with that person I just described, or have the job I just described, but it didn't do squat for you, and it left you hollow inside, you would say, I don't want it. In fact, if it's going to make me miserable inside, I really don't want it. Keep it away from me. And so to move quickly, because we only have a little time here, then I say to you, you lied to me when you said it was what you really wanted. Because it isn't true you wanted a relationship. It isn't true you wanted children. It isn't true you wanted money. It isn't true you wanted to travel around the world. It isn't true that you wanted, et cetera, et cetera. What's true is you wanted to feel good inside. You wanted to feel love. You wanted to feel joy. You wanted to feel inspiration, excitement, meaning. Those are inner things. They're not outer things. You listed the things you listed because you thought they would give you what you really want. And so wisdom, yoga, spirituality is about going deeper. Buddhists talk about working at the root. So the truth of the matter is, the only thing you needed to write on a piece of paper when I asked you, what do you really want, is a sense of total well-being. I want to feel love. I want to feel joy. I want to feel inspiration. I want to feel meaning and depth.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is overcome anxiety.
What you wanted.
And let's bring it back. Let's connect our breathing to our body, to our mind, to our energy. To our energy of determination. That's right. We determine. We don't choose and lose. Give up, believe lies, give in to fear. We don't do that. We don't give in to anxiety, stress, things that are not the truth of who we are. The way you did your best today, whatever exercise and stretches you chose to do, it's the same process you get to use here, now, wherever you go. In the gym of life, you get to grow your mind. You get to grow your mind health and your mind wealth. It's all possible if you determine, make the winning choice to be kind, to be peaceful, caring, loving, appreciative, grateful for everything you have here and now. I'm so grateful for my breath right now. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for our being, what we all truly are. I'm proud of my effort today, and I hope you are proud of yours. Because that effort, that process, that determination you use, it's available to you all the time. It's your greatest gift. So don't ever give up on using your determination to be your true, kind, positive, loving self. To control your own mind, no matter what is going on outside of it. You are infinitely intelligent, powerful beyond measure, and you get to work now more than ever on your own mind, your own body, your own energy, making yourself better now so that you can be better